everybody.
Richard.
We're going to start right now, as a matter of fact. So, as we said, we're going to start on time. So welcome to the Journal-isms Roundtable. Good to see everyone here, and also those who are on Facebook Live. My name is Richard Prince. I write a column called Journal-isms, Journal-isms, which is at journal-isms.com. The Journal-isms Roundtable has been in existence since 1999. We meet monthly. We usually, until the pandemic, met at a restaurant in Washington, D.C. But since the pandemic began, we've been doing Zoom, and that has enabled us to get people who are not in Washington as part of this this fabulous event. So let me begin. Happy spring, also, everybody. Yesterday was the first day of spring, so let me make sure to get that in. I want to start off though by remembering and paying tribute to some people who a lot of us know who have passed on in the last few weeks. And we're going to do that by doing what I understand is an African tradition of saying the name of the person 3 times. So I want to start off with Paul Brock, who was 89 years old and who was the first executive director of the National Association of Black Journalists and was active throughout. So let's say his name in unison 3 times. Paul Brock.
Paul Brock.
Paul Brock.
Paul Brock.
Paul Brock.
Paul Brock.
All right. A few days before Paul passed on, the young editor of the Atlanta Voice, Marshall Lattimore, passed at age 36 in Atlanta. And we want to lift him up as well. So let's say together, Marshall Lattimore. Marshall Lattimore. Marshall Lattimore. Marshall Lattimore. Okay. And the third person is someone that most of us know who passed away in January at age 55, Brian Monroe, who was a president of the National Association of Black Journalists, an executive at Knight Ridder, and just a person who was active in our industry. So let's lift up Brian Monroe. Brian Monroe. All right, thank you very much. Okay. Moving along, we're going to save the introductions for the end, but I do want to acknowledge people who are with the Ida B. Wells Society. This is our next generation of investigative journalists, and they were kind enough to pass along the notice of this meeting. So I don't know whether they're all here yet, but if any Ida B. Wells Society members are here, please raise your hands so we can see you. Okay, great. There's Erica. And I have another screen here too. Okay. All right. People will be joining as we go along. And there's so many people I want to shout out, but we want to wait till the end because that would take up too long. All right. We wanted to introduce everybody to 2 folks who are here, and we want them to be able to tell us a little about who they are and what they would like us to know. First one is Babee Garcia. I know we have some people who are veterans. It's a declining number, but who are journalists, and they have started an organization for such folks, aiming to increase their numbers. So, Babee, why don't you tell us just a little bit about that?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Babee Garcia. I am a Marine Corps veteran and journalist in Charlottesville, Virginia. I'm a news producer for CBS 19 News. And I am also a senior leader for military veterans in journalism. We launched in 2019, and we have a growing population of over 400 members so far. And we're just really trying to get veterans hired into America's newsrooms. We're really just trying to convince employers that these skills and experiences within our military community, we have what it takes to work in a fast-paced, disciplined environment like a newsroom. And from our members, we currently have, like I said, over 400 members. We have about 9% who are of minority races, and 15% identify as females. And my current role is the director of digital strategy and content. So I'm currently running the social media platforms. I'm researching job opportunities. I'm partnering with organizations such as the National Association of Hispanic Journalists, the NABJ, and just trying to see if we can cater our events, programs, training opportunities for other populations aside from the veteran community. I mean, we are, just trying to expand our community, making sure that, we are presenting opportunities for women veterans who are interested in journalism, veterans of color, military spouses.
Well, baby, tell me this, what are we missing by not having more veterans in the newsroom?
Oh, I can go on and on. I mean, we are familiar, one, with rank structure, just terminology that, other civilian journalists may not understand when it comes to covering the military beat. And also we have veterans who are covering the military, like Paul Zorja, and he is the editor-in-chief of Task and Purpose, who's doing an amazing job running a team of veterans and non-veterans covering the military. So that's just one of many examples, but just making sure that we're knowing terms such as decorated and undecorated, non-decorated veterans, and knowing about deployments, detachments, what ranks and terms are associated within different branches of the military, and attention to detail, making sure that before we publish something, we have, the integrity and accuracy already down pat. So
Okay.
we are, like I said before, we have been trained to work in a fast-paced environment as it is. And we had to cross our T's and dot the I's even before we step foot into a newsroom. So
right.
we really need to, expand our newsrooms further, and making sure that employers know that, we have value into working in your newsroom.
Okay, well, this is just another aspect of diversity, having veterans. Anybody has any questions or comments for Babee, please use the chat room. I think I said before, I should say it again, that this is primarily, we know we have people speaking with us. This is primarily a networking event. And so in lieu of being there in person to network, we have our chat room. So please feel free to use that. The next person I wanted to introduce is Anthony Coley. Are you here, Anthony? Oh, there you are. Okay, great.
I'm here.
Yeah, he is now in charge of all the public affairs work for the Justice Department under Merrick Garland. And we go back a long ways, he tells me, because he's been, well, he can tell you all the various things he's been involved in. And we just want people to know who he is and him to know who we are. So Anthony, give us a few minutes.
Well, thank you, Richard, and good afternoon, everybody. It's exciting to be here with you, to see some familiar faces. I just saw Michael on the query pop up as well. He and I go back to my time working on the Hill. I'm not going to take a lot of your time, right, but I did thought it would be, it's important for me to just stop by and to say hello. I'm about 4 weeks, maybe 5 into this job, running public affairs for the Department of Justice. I'm actually here at DOJ right now on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. But I tell you, there is no place I would rather be. I believe the reason I came back into government is because I believe that this is a special time in American history. And we have an opportunity with Attorney General Merrick Garland Hopefully soon we'll have the Senate confirmed nominees, Vanita Gupta joining us. I think many of you know Vanita Gupta. Kristen Clark is the president's nominee to head up civil rights. She will be the first woman, not just woman of color, but the first woman in this position. So we've got a lot of to do here at DOJ to make sure that the laws of our country are fairly and faithfully enforced, and that the rights of everyone are protected. So Richard, I'm going to stop because I grew up right around this time. I grew up in rural North Carolina, right around 1 o'clock in church. And so I could go on and on right now, but I'm going to pause. I'm going to stay around. If anybody wants to chat with me, I can be long-winded, but I just literally just wanted to stop. And Richard, maybe at some point at the next 1 or 2 of these, I can come back, and perhaps others from DOJ can come back and talk to you all what we are up to here at DOJ. There are a lot of issues that a lot of people care about. Criminal justice reform is at the top of the list. Civil rights matters at the top of the list. So we're excited I'm excited to be here more specifically. I'm excited to have an opportunity to continue this dialogue in the weeks and months ahead.
All right, thank you. And feel free, everybody, to use the chat. Now we're going to talk about, I think I mentioned in my note how impressed I was with seeing Al Tompkins at an event partly organized by Lynn Adrian, I guess 2 Saturdays ago now, on the very topic we're here to discuss, and that is how journalists can challenge and understand and combat disinformation. So Al works for the Poynter Institute, as I'm sure most of us know. And this issue of disinformation transcends politics. We also see it in the coverage of COVID, and even went down to the local level. Oh, something happened on my screen here. Okay. Oh, I see. He's got his material ready. Where it wasn't just at the federal level. There was an election that took place in Stockton, California, where the incumbent mayor, who was the youngest and the first Black mayor, was defeated by an unknown who just spread lies that people picked up on out in Stockton. So take it away, Al.
When Richard calls me, I always say yes, but I also want to acknowledge that my former president and dean, Karen Dunlap, is on this call. And Lynn, who is also on this call, is teaching a course with us on implicit bias. So it's like old home week for Poynter people here. So Richard wanted me to spend just a little time saying to you guys what I'm saying to journalists around. And I wanted to show you some new tools that are making their way into the disinformation world right now. And it's going to make your job, our job as journalists, unbelievably more difficult. So Richard, if you would also be monitoring the chat, if anybody wants to ask questions, they can either flip on their microphone or throw in questions, because I'm going to show you how some things work and some of the things that we've got to be looking for. So I usually start by saying, Richard, since your microphone is on, would you agree, Richard, that this is an apple?
Yes, it's an apple.
Yes,
it looks like an apple.
And so most of us would say, well, of course it's an apple. And if I would say, is it a whole apple? I think a reasonable person would say, of course it's a whole apple. What are you asking me? And then I would say, well, are you sure? And you would say, well, maybe. And I would say, well, what else do you need to know? And you would say, well, am I seeing the whole apple? And the answer is no. The answer is no, because half of it is eaten. It's just that you didn't know that. And I only show this to you because I'm going to use this as an analogy later to show you what happens with disinformation. But the problem for us is that seeing isn't understanding. Seeing is merely believing. And there's a difference between fact and truth. And the difference is context. So as I always say, accuracy plus context equals truth. And I think it's the central lesson for us in 2021 as journalists, is to remember that facts without context do not equal truth. Let me give you an example. This video made its way around social media quite a lot. Let me just play 5 seconds of it. And if I were to ask, I think a reasonable person would say, this just doesn't sound right. In fact, when I started showing that video in my living room, I was playing around with the video, and I said to my wife, what do you think this is? And she says, gosh, it either sounds like Nancy Pelosi is drunk or maybe she's had a stroke. And obviously the video was staged in a way that made us believe that there must be something going on with whatever it is she's drinking, because she sounds, my wife said, irregular. And I think that's charitable. So the question is really what's going on here? And the first question is, what are other people are saying? And any reasonable person would type in Nancy Pelosi drunk or Nancy Pelosi drinking or slurring, and you would find a number of fact checks. And they would all say, no, that's not true. But there are other ways for us to do this. And I talk about it all the time. Go to the original source. And that's exactly what I did. Went to C-SPAN and pulled the video. And you will see that that's not what it sounded like at all.
We're not hearing the audio.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you. I appreciate you letting me know that, and I can fix that. But I'm going to have to quit sharing just for a moment.
Okay.
Yeah, if I'm going to demonstrate audio, it'd be nice if you could hear the audio. Let me give you the original.
I'm sorry, to do what?
To accuse a TV host of murder on Twitter.
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
All right. So the question is sort of, what other people are saying. And as I said, other people are saying that's